Paraphrase the old children's book, partly cloudy with a chance of ground balls here at Guaranteed Rate Field today, and the wind is kicking up still a little bit, but hot and humid and lively.
You got to keep the ball on the ground because anything in the air is going to go, and that's where Dallas Keuchel has an advantage.
So far this year, he's 8th in Major League Baseball. Oh, the Pirates got it out of the way early. Wow. Well, guess there's not going to be a no-hitter today at Guaranteed Rate Field. They have a sense of humor in Pittsburgh.
Well, they figured, look, no sense taking drama any further than the first ball fastball, so he takes it right back up the middle. And Tucker takes all the drama out of this one.
You got to love baseball, though, right? I mean, go figure. Go figure. A night of no hits, and then the first swing, the first pitch, the first anything at the ballpark the very next day, and the Pirates have a runner on. So there you go. Won't be a no-hitter. Sorry about that. Here's a bunt, and Grandal is out in front of it, and he throws on to first. So the Pirates trying to create a run after having a dearth of base runners last night. As we take a look at our Insure on the Spot starting lineup, get your free auto insurance quote in just 2 minutes at insureonthespot.com. You already seen Tucker and Gonzalez, so let's start with Reynolds, then Bell and Polanco. Jacob Stallings catches. Frazier, Osuna, who pinch hit last night, and JT Riddle. That ball Gonzalez hit yesterday was mammoth, but Engel was there.
Dallas Keuchel looking for win number 5, his ERA at 2.65. On the bunt, Yasmani Grandal came out and he pointed right at Abreu, saying that's the only play I have. So for Roman, last time he was out, sinkers and cutters almost identical. The changeup was very good. Didn't throw the slider or four-seamer very much. Today he wants to keep the ball on the ground.
Well, I was getting ready to say that he's 8th in Major League Baseball in ground ball rate for pitchers who qualify. And we haven't had the time to delve into that because the Pirates are 2 pitches deep. They have 1 out and a runner at second base.
Well, day game after a night game, a very hot day. They're coming out as aggressive as they possibly can.
Well, we showed you yesterday the Pirates have big time first pitch swing numbers. This is a very aggressive ball club.
If you're going to hit the ball in the air against Dallas Keuchel, you're probably going to do it in the first inning, maybe first 2 innings. Sinker ballers get better as the game moves along. You get the adrenaline burn off, and early you throw some line drives.
Two balls and a strike to Reynolds. Was hoping maybe Dallas would go like an inning and just keep it up for today. But you know what? The fun of baseball is just when you think you have sized up the next cool thing you might see at a ballpark, something even stranger happens. And that's why we show up every day. Two and one. And that's fouled away right hand side, 2-2. You would imagine the combination of the Pirates and their attacking mentality, and then Dallas Keuchel being around the plate, would lead to shorter at bats this afternoon.
Well, I think they're going to go and try to get anything in the strike zone early. And as far as Dallas is concerned, he's cutting the ball, he's sinking the ball. His changeup is usually very good. He doesn't mind early swings. He would prefer early swings.
Two and two. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3 on a slider from Dallas Keuchel, and his first strikeout.
We'll take another look. Great location. Backdoor slider, stays away from Reynolds. He swings over the top. And there's quickly 2 outs in the inning. And this is the guy you worry about from both sides of the plate. I know for Josh Bell it hasn't been a good start. But last year he hit 37 home runs, had a great first half. Normally when it gets done in the middle, it's going to be Bell doing it, and hopefully the light doesn't turn on before he leaves town.
Home run derby participant last year in Cleveland at the All-Star festivities as he takes ball 1.
Here's our UI Health defense, and this is how Ricky Renteria, after a short night, is going to put him out there. Nice to see Eloy back in the lineup. Luis and Nomar in the outfield with Yohan, Tim, Danny, and Jose in the infield. Yasmani Grandal grabs the plate. Dallas Keuchel on the hill trying to get out of this first inning without giving up a run.
Here's the thing about Josh Bell this year and what contributes to the lower numbers than we saw, especially in that first half last year. His strikeout rate last year was 19%, which is below Major League average. This year his strikeout rate is 30%, which is well above Major League average.
I think that's probably natural in a season after you hit 37 and you know it's a short year.
Trying to get your shots up, basically.
Yeah, I really believe in a 60-game season you want to have very good numbers, and you come off a year where you take the ball out of the ballpark 37 times. You're thinking about, if not duplicating that, because you certainly can't in 60 games, but you would certainly like to get to 20, and maybe he is pressing.
He's also just seen fewer pitches in the strike zone. His percentage of pitches in the zone has dipped below 40%, which is, again, below Major League average.
That's a product of who surrounds him in the lineup, because when you game plan against Pittsburgh, you tell yourself you're not going to let Bell beat you.
Then you start to expand your strike zone. It snowballs as your StatCast powered by Google Cloud. The home runs for Josh Bell, being a switch hitter, it is a celebration of life to left and right for Bell, and some to center field as well. At lovely PNC, 37 home runs visually there. Three and two from Keuchel, and he struck him out. Changeup ends the inning. There was a hit, though. How pedestrian. Dallas, 2 strikeouts in the first. Sox will bat next. On the spot starting insurance quote in just 2 minutes at insureonthespot.com. It's TA, then Moncada again in the 2 spot. Grandal, Abreu, Jimenez, and Encarnacion 6. Robert Mazzara in right, and then Danny Mendick.
We'll take a look at Trevor Williams. Got pretty good stuff. ERA of 3.70. This is 6th start. You see the control is very good. He is around the plate a lot. What happens when you're around the plate that much on a lively day? You give up a few home runs. And so for Roman, his four-seam fastball is 43% of the time. That bodes well again for really good, strong hitters. Slider 26% of the time. It's a good one. The changeup at 18, and the sinker and curve negligible.
He's been doing a great job of missing the barrel of the bat so far this year, as this one is scooped out to center field, and Tucker's underneath for out number 1.
Let's take a look at our UI Health defense and how Derek Shelton's going to put them out there this afternoon, with Reynolds, Tucker, and Polanco left to right, then Riddle, Gonzalez, Frazier, and Ozuna in the infield. Jacob Stallings has the plate. The aforementioned Trevor Williams on the hill. We have seen Williams sometimes throw the ball very well. Normally he's got excellent control, and because of his varied pitch selection, he keeps hitters off balance.
Yoan on a first pitch, he takes downstairs for ball 1. So coming into this game, in 72 batted balls against Trevor Williams, he had allowed 1 barrel, which is that stat which is perfect exit velocity and launch angle that normally gets you an extra base hit, normally gets you a home run. 1 barrel in 73 batted balls now. It's pretty impressive.
He's going to be hard pressed to keep that going with Abreu.
You like the matchup?
Yeah, I think Jose's going to have a very good day. The Sox would like to score early. The reason is when you're playing a team that's going to finish up the track, you want to take their heart away. If you score early after the no-hitter last night, you do pretty much of that. But you have to score early. You have to hold the other team down. And if the Sox had a game plan today, that would probably be it.
Left-hand side from Yoan, and this ground ball will be out number 2. Very traditional windup for Williams. Got the overhead wind. It's a little old school.
Yeah, it's unusual in this day and age. The reason is pitchers have simplified their windup. Some guys throw from the stretch. Even the perennial starting pitchers will throw from the stretch. The reason is you want to have a repeatable motion, and the fewer moving parts you have, the easier it is to repeat. That's one of the things that everybody is striving for these days. Repeatable motion. That was the big thing with Lucas Giolito, shortening his backswing. Repeatable motion. He's able to literally time after time throw the ball from the exact same release point and make it look like all the same pitch.
Another ground ball. This could be a quick one today. Well, now it's going 15 according to the truck. Whole rip. It's good to see. The note about the swings and misses. 30 swings and misses is the most in a no-hitter since 1990. Nolan Ryan had 31 swings and misses, but tabulating that and the amount of bats Lucas missed last night was a majestic, wizardry-driven thing.
When you realize that Lucas is not an overwhelming fastball pitcher, he has a really good fastball, but he tops out maybe with a stiff wind at 96. Usually he's 93 to 95. You can understand Nolan Ryan because he got the ball up to 100 and maybe a touch over. But that shows you, for all you young pitchers out there, what it shows you is what deception can do to the eye of the hitter. Because a hitter's trying to pick up the ball out of your hand. If he can do that, he will square it up. And they always talk about hitters being 56-foot hitters, 55-foot hitters. You want to pick up the ball out of the pitcher's hand. But with Lucas and his short arm swing, they become 52 and 53-foot hitters. Consequently, they can't pick up the baseball until it's on the way. And 94, 95 looks 98, 99. And that's why he gets so many swings and misses. And because it comes out of the same release point as his fastball, you miss the changeup thinking that it's a different pitch than what it is.
And that's the mastery of the partnership of Giolito and McCann that we saw as they were embarking on the third time through the order, when James, to 3 consecutive batters, called a first pitch slider to change the look.
Right, after not really calling it at all the first couple times through.
Strikeout number 3 in a row for Dallas Keuchel. Take a look at the outs and where Lucas Giolito got him last night. And this goes to your discussion of pitch type. 13 fastballs, 11 changeups, and 3 sliders only in that no-hitter, getting outs for him.
You've got to give hitters a different look, especially third time through. That's one of the reasons why McCann is a master behind the plate. He's got a sense of timing, the likes of which you just don't see very often.
We're scheduled to hear from Lucas Giolito during the telecast by phone later on at some point. So stick around for that. We'll talk to Lucas about his night last night. But I loved hearing Adam Engel talk before the game in the soundbite we played for you after the game yesterday from Adam, just saying how happy he was for Lucas. And that was really what came out of that celebration. I mean, you look at everybody wanted their moment with this guy who's become a leader, but also is very inspirational for people who have had down moments in their life in sports.
What you hope is you have a number of guys on the field for you that in a moment like that says to themselves, hit it to me. I don't know how many guys on the field felt that way last night. I could guess, but that's really not relevant. What is relevant is the one man that knew definitively he wanted the last ball that took a very good performance into historic areas. And Adam Engel was the guy. He got a tough play. He made it look easy because he is an elite defender. And hit it to me is how you want everybody to approach every ball that's hit. And as far as the Sox are concerned, they hit it to one of the right guys.
You look at the jump he got. Watch that again a couple of times and see the jump that he got. It was out of the ordinary. If he doesn't react like that, that's a hit. And we're talking about what might have been instead of what was.
Well, I think when the ball left the bat, when Lucas realized that for one of the few times last night he made a mistake. That was a mistake fastball. He wanted it up higher. McCann wanted it up higher. He didn't get it there. When it left the bat, a pitcher knows pretty much exactly the exit rate of everything that leaves the bat against him. He thought it was a base hit, only to look up and see this slicing rocket of a line drive wind up in the glove of one of the best outfielders in baseball, and Adam Engel is that guy.
We know him for robbing home runs. That fateful week here at Guaranteed Rate Field. But that step he had last night could be the defining moment of his defensive career, depending on what's next and what's in the future for this White Sox team. Keuchel with a strikeout on a sinker. Stallings did not love it, and that's 4 straight strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel. So why not set some more records? 4 strikeouts in a row right now.
Eric Backus, the umpire, thought this was good enough. Certainly Stallings thought that it was inside. Backus has the deciding vote, and Stallings will have a seat.
By the way, Jacob Stallings is a dead ringer for James Shields. Don't you think?
Not now.
Not Dave Turner.
How observant of you.
The face.
Oh, the face.
I love that now that we're not in a tense moment anymore, the crew is just playing tricks on me again. Fantastic. Glad we're back in our groove, everybody. Didn't you think the face of Jacob Stallings looks like James Shields?
I don't know. I was looking at his head.
Thank you so much. His father, Kevin Stallings, longtime basketball coach, college basketball coach, very good coach.
Just remember, I am behind you, win or tie. Yeah, that looks exactly like James Shields. I mean,
right.
I can honestly not tell the difference.
Well, this is a big play here. Stop being snarky. To shortstop, and that'll do it. The 1-2-3 inning. You do this side by side at home. I promise I'm right. Maybe.
Créame que orgulloso del trabajo que hemos hecho ahí. Uno no controla lo que pueden hablar de ti en un momento dado, pero muchas personas no creen en lo que uno puede hacer con la edad que tengo todavía. Y el día que pierde el amor por jugar el béisbol, me voy por mi casa. Yo creo que por eso trabajo tanto día a día.
You want a leader, that dude is somebody you want to follow into whatever you got planned in terms of competition. We're just building a clubhouse.
I love that quote. The day I lose my love for baseball, I'm going home.
It's not going to happen anytime soon.
I hope not.
Based on what we know about him. Polanco in right field is there with a long step. For route number 1, every one of his steps a long step, by the way, with that body type. He is athletic as all get out there in right field. Polanco.
The Pirates are happy to see him in the lineup defensively because he had reconstructive shoulder surgery last year and really couldn't play defense, couldn't throw the ball, and now he's able to play out there, which gives him a lot more versatility. He's a good player. He's not off to a great start. In fact, there's not a lot of Pirates that are off to a great start. Polanco hitting just a touch over 140.
There was a story in The Athletic the other day about Gregory Polanco and the guy who initially scouted him with the Pirates, and whether or not the Pirates are the right team to make him the player that he is, and whether or not Polanco should stay in Pittsburgh or whether he'd be better off somewhere else. The one thing we know about Gregory Polanco is he also has that love for baseball out there in the outfield, and he's a cornerstone. He was supposed to be out there with McCutchen and Marte, and then you look around and he's the only guy left out there of that outfield that was supposed to be the up-and-coming 3.
It was really a great outfield. Now they're scattered to the 4 winds. There's been a couple of pitches in this sequence Williams didn't get. If Backus doesn't give them to him today, Sox hitters are going to be in good shape because Williams then is going to have to get the ball up.
Ball 4. All of them down, and your 2020 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Get a win at home with low rates and no curveballs. Visit rate.com today. Well, the glow of Lucas Giolito's no-hitter is still surrounding Guaranteed Rate Field, and what's amazing is, well, first of all, Edwin's dance moves, and second of all, you have the next day, the first game in baseball, so sitting and reveling and relishing in it just cannot last all that long because baseball always marches on.
That's the great thing about it, and the tough thing about it. There's always a game the next day. A lot of room for redeemers and a big grind. And make no mistake, the guys who play this, I mean, I hear fans, I hear people saying, well, this guy is soft, that guy's soft. Let me tell you something. You play this game for a living and you're playing through injuries, you're getting hit by the baseball. You can't be soft. If you're soft, you're not wearing a major league uniform. Now there's degrees of toughness, and the guys that are the toughest are usually the guys that perform near the top of the scale. But all of these guys are tough.
You don't get through the minor leagues if you're not tough. I mean, that is an absolute grind. There are long bus rides, and there are days where everybody with every highest level of talent in baseball, the best prospects, question themselves during their time in the minors.
What happens is you dominate just about every league you're in until you get into professional baseball. And then suddenly the best of the best from everywhere is competing against you. And some guys just can't deal with it. Some guys aren't good enough, and a lot of guys go home. But the guys who get here are the guys that have been weeded out at every level, starting in elementary school on up. Every level. They're one of the guys that went on as opposed to one of the guys that went home. And this is the end result. You look at the stars in this game, you say this is wonderful, but the reality is professional players never see a day in the major leagues, the overwhelming majority of them.
Fair ball, nice jump, CB down the line to avoid a laser from Edwin, and runners are at second and third. The high hurdles down the third base line on a fair ball into the corner.
Edwin rifled that one down the line. Riddle had no chance. That's a breaking ball that was a little higher than he would like. Now that could very well be a product of not getting the low strikes from Backus. You've got to bring that breaking ball up. Edwin had a good shot at it. Reynolds gets it back in, but not before two men in scoring position.
Sox did the majority of their damage yesterday in the second inning on an infield single, a hit batter, a walk, and a couple more base hits. And now the infield in again for Derek Shelton early in the game. Second and third, one out, and Robert launches a ball to center field. Tucker is back on it to make the catch, and Jimenez tags and scores. Luis Robert, a first pitch sac fly, and the Sox lead first. It's 1-0.
Luis Robert has 18 runs driven in. Jose Abreu is a finished product of a guy who has learned to be a run producer. Luis Robert is in the infancy stages of what's going to be an astonishing career. You have to learn how to drive in runs. And with the infield in, a hitter will tell himself you can't swing at anything down because you don't want a ground ball. At worst, you want a fly ball that scores the run, and the Sox are up a run.
Well, if you throw a first pitch strike to Luis Robert in that situation, and he can elevate it at all, it's a run because he's swinging. So is Nomar with a foul ball, strike one.
Well, pretty much there are times when if you throw a first pitch, he's swinging.
That's a great point. It could tunnel its way to the plate, a la Bugs Bunny.
Doesn't really matter.
Left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, I don't think he's seen one he doesn't like, but yet, amazingly enough, there are times when he goes up and he'll take 4 straight pitches for a walk.
He has tendencies until he doesn't.
Williams has very good control, but it holds true. You walk somebody in this game, and it was the walk that scored. His first walk of the game.
There's a 4-pitch walk to Eloy Jimenez, and the Sox have a 1-0 lead. Sox come into today tied for second place in the AL Central, which would be a guaranteed playoff spot if they finish second. Top 2 in each division make the postseason this year. The Indians beat the Twins yesterday, so Minnesota's only a game and a half up on the Sox and the Indians. There's a launch to left center field by Mazzara into the alleyway, and Nomar has himself an RBI, and Encarnacion scores, and it's 2-0.
RBI number 4. More importantly, Sox have taken the early lead. This ball is down. Nomar likes low fastballs. He gets one, elevates it, slices it away from Tucker in center field. And with 2 outs, there's really nothing to wait for now. Edwin did hesitate. I think he lost track of the outs, and that's a lesson for all players. Know where the outfielders are, number one. Know how many outs there are, because as soon as that ball's hit, you're taking off.
I think it's great fun to watch Edwin run. There's great joy in his gait. Those 37-year-old legs were cooking.
Speed has never been a big part of his game, and the Sox love the power.
I mean, this is a dude that had 13 stolen bases in 2012. Watch him go.
You see, but that was the problem there, is he was hesitating, and you got to know how many outs there are.
He looks like a runaway truck in the Smoky Mountains that you have to pull off into the ramp.
Yeah, he's got some of that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
I like the arm as a guide, right, to kind of steady himself, make sure he stays upright.
That's in case the parrot appears.
You do have to have a perch for the parrot. Haven't seen a guy homer from second recently. 1-1 for Danny. In the air, right field, well hit. Polanco back at the wall. It's out of here. It pinballed around, and Danny Mendick does get it over the outstretched glove. 4-0 Sox. How fun is this team right now?
That's a 3rd home run, and Danny Mendick is now driven in 6. Our 4th home run replay. This is a slider that doesn't slide. He takes it opposite way. We told you, if you get it up in the air today, it's trouble. Polanco has this in the glove just briefly. He's very tall. His timing is good. Unfortunately, when he hits the wall with his elbow, the glove bends back and drops into the bullpen. A good effort by Polanco.
We've seen that twice this year.
I mean, he was right there to make the play, but you hit the wall with your elbow, the glove has got to open up.
So Danny Mendick shows the power once again, this time the opposite way. And now 2-0 on TA.
This is what the Sox were looking for. Take the heart out of the Pirates, get on top early after a ball game last night that saw a gem by Lucas Giolito. They jumped on top with a 4 spot.
That's a strike on the check swing. 2-1 for Tim. Foul ball right hand side into the second deck and back out. Now look, Tim Anderson has been in some ways the spiritual leader of this White Sox team since the whole kerfuffle with the Royals last year. But Lucas Giolito, we saw at that Sunday night baseball game, you and I didn't do, it was over on ESPN. After he struck out the side, he screamed, "Let's go." And he has become, in a lot of ways, that guy for the pitching staff that Tim has been for the offense, as there is strike 3. But the Sox did some damage once again. Danny Mendick, Oppo, trying to get his dancing shoes on. Closer to a dub than before he swung. Polanco says, "Oh, shucks." Williams does too.
Baseball night in Chicago tomorrow at 6. Do you have any of that eye black? The reflection off the screen is really tough to see. You know, day game after night game, you lose a step to either side, and so's our monitors.
Well, what I was going to say is maybe you could just like look at the field
and read promos.
Is that okay?
Thanks.
I
Nice
try to
job.
be helpful.
Way to go.
Yeah, it's very nice. Somebody tweeted in and said, speaking of baseball night in Chicago, somebody tweeted in and said they think Jacob Stallings looks more like David Kaplan than James Shields.
He's got a point there.
2 strikes from Dallas Keuchel. If not for the pesky first pitch swing from Cole Tucker, Dallas Keuchel would still have a no-hitter. He's retired 6 in a row after that leadoff single by Tucker, who, based on his swing, as there's a line drive to third and Moncada for out number 1. It looked like Tucker was thinking all night about how the team got no hit, and he came out and said, no more of this. I don't want to feel this ever again.
He went out with a big smile on his face. That was a rocket. Dallas now with a 4-run lead is going to make absolute short work of at bats if the Pirates let him, because he's going to throw everything in the zone. Last thing he wants to do on a very warm day is fall behind people. He realized that the Pirates have come out very aggressive. They're going to swing early in the count and not grind out the at bats that some teams in contention normally would. I mean, if a veteran pitcher picks that up, you're not going to see many hittable pitches on the first pitch like that last one.
Pirates came into this series in the bottom 5 in baseball in pitches per plate appearance, which is an interesting contrast after the Cubs series, who have been the most patient team in baseball in terms of pitches seen per trip to the plate. So that's a juggling act that the pitching staff has to do series to series. JT Riddle to center and Robert for out number 2. Hashtag Sox Files. Let's see if you know who this Sox player is. His jersey number lives on. He's from the Centennial State. Duck twice before you see him.
Gregory Polanco.
Sox Files is the name of Sox File. I mean, Gregory Polanco is wearing socks.
I was so close.
You were. I mean, usually when you yell George Bell, you're right. So I thought you might just go back there today. I feel like the LIV is a Roman numeral deal.
Ooh, you're breaking this one down.
Yeah. I think maybe. I was in Rome in January, so I learned the numerals.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you? You coughed until March.
I did not. 1 ball and 1 strike. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. We had a great night last night, and we enjoyed it. And we were very sincere to each other.
Oh, that's
and
right.
Now
I forget. I'm slipping back into the old habits.
You get real close to empathetic, and then an alarm goes off in your brain, and you say, "Oh, can't step over that line." 1 and 2 on Tucker, who, if you missed it, first pitch of this ball game after the Giolito no-hitter last night. First pitch of the ball game was a base hit to center. And Tucker on the ground. Tim slings it. Save to call at first base. That was a tough crisscross by Anderson and Mendick, and very close, but Tucker's got an infield single.
Well, Tim did a great job here of just maintaining his concentration. Both fielders want to get the baseball. Danny Mendick has got to realize that even if he gets it, he can't make the play, so he tries to give way. Tim still concentrating, throwing from down under because that's all he had, and almost gets it there in time. I mean, that is a wonderful play.
Well, Tim's play late last night, along with Abreu on the back end, that teamwork led to the no-hitter for Lucas Giolito, and a first pitch swing. We should know better than to start a story with 2 outs with the Pirates swinging, but we don't learn, do we? The great Ron Vesley with some photos from around Guaranteed Rate Field last night, as this ball is whacked into the corner of the leadoff variety for Yoan Moncada. First pitch swinging is the phrase of the day, and the Sox have a leadoff double.
We'll take another look. Yoan gets a breaking ball, and thigh-high breaking balls don't work very well. So he just drilled his ball into the corner. He's been up twice and hit the ball hard twice, and that's a good sign because When his legs were ouchy, he just didn't have a solid base to hit off of, and nothing really worked very well. But today, he's hit the ball hard to the left side, hit the ball hard to the right side.
Are your legs ouchy?
Every day, but I don't have to hit from either side.
1 on, nobody out, and Grandal takes ball 1. You saw those photos for Lucas Giolito, and typically in a scenario in mid-season, part of his family would be here, somebody would be here to be able to celebrate with him. And one of the toughest things to do last night, I'm told, was to convince his dad Rick that he could turn the game on, because there's a difficulty in the Giolito household with Rick and Lindsay, Lucas's parents, to watch the game live. Typically they'll watch the game after it's over, when they have some idea of how it went. And so there was some frantic phone calls last night to get the family to watch this history live, and eventually it happened. And looking at Lucas's mom Lindsay's tweets yesterday about her hand shaking while she was typing the tweet congratulating her son, I mean, there's nothing more touching in sports. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing for that entire family, and to see those photos in an empty ballpark when we could still feel the juice, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was just a memorable night, especially when you start to do a game, and we do a lot of games. Start to do a game, and it's a game, and he goes through the first inning, second inning, third inning. It's still a game. Get through the fourth inning, and now maybe you're in the fifth inning, and suddenly it starts to shift from a game, and you start thinking maybe this is going to be the game. And then you take it all the way through, and it becomes one of the great games, if not the greatest game in White Sox history.
That's a called strike. It's 3-2 on Grandal. I mean, it's the most strikeouts in a no-hitter in White Sox history with 13. 30 swings and misses is just a massive number. And you know, the only thing that Lucas Giolito posted as of about 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday on his social media was a retweet of James McCann's tweet. So it wasn't anything individually from Lucas, and he's such a team-based guy. He credited James and he credited Adam, and then everybody flocks to him as well. As James McCann said, it was a childhood dream for him to catch a no-hitter.
Well, watching two guys pretty much work as one was one of the beauties of the game last night. They work well together. In fact, the last game, Lucas also struck out 13. He didn't shake off any pitches 2 games ago and only 1 last night.
Downstairs, ball 4. 2 on, nobody out.
Time for your T-Mobile ticket to the game as we highlight some historic notes for White Sox no-hitters.
The first one since 8 years ago in the Pacific Northwest. Consecutive scoreless starts, 13+ strikeouts. First pitcher in Sox history to do that. I mean, it's remarkable stuff.
I love the fact that 30 swings and misses for a guy that doesn't have a Nolan Ryan type fastball or Garrett Cole type fastball. That's really impressive. Deception is a big part of his game.
There's the allure of that changeup out of his hand, and then your boat goes crashing into a sandbar.
We had a look at an exercise in tunneling as the fastball and the changeup come out of his hand. And the object for all of your pitches, the slider, in his case the slider, the changeup, and the fastball, is to make it look exactly the same for as long as you can to confuse the hitter. And in just the changeup and the fastball, it stayed on the same plane for long enough where you realize you got no chance on the changeup. Your eye identifies fastball, your foot comes forward, that's okay, but when your hands come forward, you're defeated in that swing.
Throw to first, out. Grandal picked off of first. He thought he got back in, so we'll see what the White Sox video room says. Watch it again.
Regardless of the outcome of this,
He's out.
I love going behind the lead runner. Get a man at second. I think that's a great pickoff play. Anytime you can get an out without a pitch, that's something that you want to do. And to do that, you have a sign from the catcher to the first baseman. The sign is given before the pitch. Usually there's an acknowledgement from the first baseman. Depending on what the sign is from the catcher, first baseman will do something, maybe his belt buckle, to acknowledge it. And then when the pitch is coming, the first baseman breaks behind, and you know there's going to be no contact.
To shortstop, Gonzalez flags it down on a beautiful play for out number 2. Well done by Gonzalez, who's had a very nice series.
Nice at bat, hit awfully hard, but Gonzalez was a bit better on this one, ranging to his left. Good range, and the rest is pretty easy as Jose pulls up. You don't need him beating it every time to first base.
Yeah.
You need to keep him healthy. And day game after night game for a guy that's not 23, 24 years old is not the easiest thing around.
You're in tip-top shape today, day game after a night game, and you're not 22, 23, you're 26, 27, right?
You know, and you're responsible for that. Not only did you give me a pack of 24 bomb pops, and you know, I've never seen them half an inch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the normal bomb pop is, I don't know, like 4, but you got the half-inch ones. It's really great. But you got me 3 boxes of Raisin Bran Crunch.
I did.
Yep.
So in case you were wondering what we do after a no-hitter, Steve goes home and crushes bomb pops.
And Raisin Bran Crunch.
And Raisin Bran Crunch, yeah.
And the 3 or 4 hours both of us slept last night because of the excitement allowed us to come back and go get them again today.
There are a lot of Sox fans who are bleary-eyed today and loving it. I mean, trying to turn that off after what happened last night in this ballpark, and I know I saw some videos on social media of people showing what they did to celebrate the final out. You lived it along with us, and we couldn't be happier that none of us got any sleep last night. Eloy swings through a strike.
That was a high change, not a good location, but he fooled Eloy, something that's pretty tough to do on a pitch with that elevation. That's hitting in tough luck.
Big time.
Yeah, that means the BABIP isn't as good as it's going to be, which is base hits the balls in play, and that's a stat that you can predict pretty much how next year is going to go by what that average says.
By the way, did a mirror break in the Seager family household? I mean, both Seagers are getting crushed on barrel outs.
Yeah. They're both pretty good players.
They adopt a black cat or something?
Perhaps.
It's not great. That was a great scene though when the two teams were playing each other, the Dodgers and the Mariners, and both Seagers homered over the course of the series, and they ran by one another on the
I was
infield.
gonna say, the look as they ran by was priceless.
Struck him out, and the inning's over. 4-zip Sox after 3. Family there, and I have to say, Twitter sometimes can be a place that is negative and all of those things, but I got a direct message right after Tom won Sox Math yesterday from the best man in his wedding to let me know that Tom lost his father on July the 9th, and that was a terrible loss for Tom and his family. And could I say something about that after Tom won Sox Math? And his best man Russell writes that that Dad was so supportive of Tom, soccer, basketball, baseball game, very patient, kind man. And so to our winner today, we know you've been hurting a little bit, and we hope that we can help just a little. So great video. Great work by the family. We'll get you a question in a moment, but Twitter is one of those places that sometimes the light sneaks through, and I love when the light sneaks through.
I also want to send along condolences to the family of Well, the Greg Harris family, because the passing of their patriarch. Greg, a sometimes Sox fan, very big fan of baseball. And he and the rest of their family lost their father, their grandfather, and our condolences go out.
Absolutely. It's a chopper foul by Reynolds as the Sox have a 4-0 lead here. 2 hits for the Pirates, both by Cole Tucker, who was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts in yesterday's ball game.
And by the way, on a lighter note, I've never known Twitter to be negative, so I'm not sure, if you've experienced that or not. But
did you ever know, like, Lafitte Pinkai?
I remember him. Yeah, I remember his
Jerry Bailey.
His horses, yes.
Yeah.
So
some of the best horses run with blinders on, which is how you run on Twitter, because you just block everybody.
No,
so it's
I
over
mute
at
some
that
people
point.
too, so I
You
am
do.
adaptable.
You do. Hope you enjoy the Preakness. 2-2 on Reynolds, a 25-year-old outfielder. Who? How about this? Brian Reynolds. The day of his high school baseball tryouts, was in a game that was a travel ball game and hurt his right hand. So he wasn't able to swing with his right hand. He wanted to try out for the high school baseball team anyway. And they said, well, why don't you try swinging lefty? He swung it so well lefty, he made the team, and he became a switch hitter from there, which is a pretty amazing story. As 1 down here in the 4th. Hashtag SoxMath presented by GMC. We are professional grade. It's all Lucas all the time. If you did your research on Lucas Giolito, you're going to get this one. Number of outs he had last night multiplied by Pirates hits, plus Lucas's jersey number minus his age as of this moment. What's your answer? You can do the SoxMath video tomorrow if you win.
That's a really tough one.
Friday, that is. It's a real tough one to do the video tomorrow.
No, I mean, real tough one to do that puzzle.
It is?
Yeah.
You're not going to recuse yourself?
No, you might as well give him CA and cat.
Moncada to first. And 2 down here in the 4th. So glad to have you along, and so glad to have you for this entire season, which we're halfway through right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that this is game number 31. The halfway point was finished with a flourish last night with a no-hitter. Dallas Keuchel is throwing really well today. The only guy that solved him is Tucker at the top with a couple of hits. But the Pirates have come out very aggressive. That usually happens day game after a night game for a team that is going to finish up the track. Pirates in a rebuild mode. Tough situation for Ben Cherington. But we know this feeling. And the Pirates have an opportunity to restock. And certainly when you trade away the talent that they did, a restocking is in order.
Oh, what a play! Hillcrest High basketball. Bring it in, TA. Go up for the layup. That's pretty stuff, huh? Bring insurance, retirement solutions to help you make every moment count. Find out more at Securian.com today. If you are from the South, you say insurance.
And
here in the North, you say insurance. That'll
Good to
help
know.
you for next time.
Good to know in case I move.
Well, I mean, you live in the South, sort of, in the off season in Arizona.
I was born in the South. South Euclid, Ohio.
Wow. You're really rolling. I mean, you scripted some great ad-libs for today.
I plan to be asleep by Friday morning.
Oh, boy, that ball is way out of here. A parrot of epic proportion.
Reynolds never moved in left field. Tucker just admired it from center field. All the pitcher does when he hears that sound is just ask for another baseball. 111.6 miles an hour. This is absolutely obliterated. Forward home run replay. That doesn't sink. It's knee high, but with no sink. The sink came as it hit the seats.
Almost cleared the seats while we're at it.
That was long.
Luis Robert takes a strike from Williams, but Edwin Encarnacion providing a window into what his season can be with a 2-for-2, a double and a home run for Edwin today in a 5-0 Sox lead. 4:35 beyond the left field wall for Edwin Encarnacion.
One of the reasons why Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams went out in the wintertime and they brought in Encarnacion and they brought in Grandal was they realized that the White Sox will be looking at the Twins for a long time in their division, and the Twins did it last year with bombs away every day. And if you can't hit the ball with the Twins, it's going to be very difficult to supplant the Twins in the division. So adding home runs to this team, and now this team can hit home runs with just about anybody, gives it a little more even footing. And maybe with better pitching, you stare in the eyes of the Twins. That was the mind of the front office when they did the autopsy from last year and looked at what this year was going to be, and especially what next year will be.
Robert to the left field corner and just wide. Look, you talk about the Twins. Here we go. Target Field next Monday starts the series against Minnesota. It's a 3-game series at Target Field, the 31st, the 1st, and the 2nd, in what could be for AL Central supremacy at the time.
It's going to be a great series. I think everybody's looking forward to it, but just like Lucas Giolito last night, when he said, I went pitch by pitch, full concentration on every pitch. So a baseball team has to do the same thing. You go game by game. You can look forward to the Twins series, but Kansas City is in the way, and for another half game the Pirates also are there.
Oh my goodness, that was an absolute dart, and Frazier makes the save on it, but thank goodness Williams got out of the way.
See, people don't realize that when you let the baseball go, you're throwing it 90, 92 miles an hour. If you throw hard, maybe 95. That ball came back 111.6 miles an hour, and but for some quick reflexes, Williams' season is over. And who knows what else, because that came right at his head. Fortunately, he was able to get back under it, and don't think for a minute that that doesn't stick in the mind of a pitcher.
Oh yeah. You talk to anybody who's been hit by one, it takes some time. Two down. Here's your Sox Math winner for today. We have a new winner. It is Corey 5771. 27 outs for Lucas last night, times 0 hits. 27 is jersey number. He is 26 years old as of your birthday.
Bastille Day.
Bastille Day.
July 14th. It was a joyous day.
Are you big into French history? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Robespierre was one of my favorite characters. I loved his robes.
I was going to say, he's your third favorite Pierre.
It's behind Juan Pierre, certainly.
Strike one to Danny Mendick, who's got a 2-run home run to his name so far today. Sox lead at 5-0, and we are scheduled to be joined by Lucas Giolito by phone later on in the telecast to talk no-hitter with him about everything that he's put together over the last 24 hours and how his life has changed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tipped foul by Danny Mendick. The run differential is usually a good indicator of who's having a very nice year. Sometimes it can be a better indicator of record at the time. And the Sox are tied for first in the American League in run differential, and nobody's catching the Dodgers.
Well, there's 7 teams there. There's a very good chance that all 7 of those teams will wind up in the playoffs. So for the people who tell you run differential doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're planning to go home at the end of the season. It certainly matters if you can keep that up all year long and get yourself to the playoffs.
To that point, look at how many American League teams were on that list. The AL is really tough this year.
There probably is a reason for that. The reason being that up until this year, you could build your American League team around a designated hitter. The National League didn't have that. So when you build your team around a designated hitter, you get a guy specifically for that job. Now, you don't lose anything if you're a National League team, but American League was more uniquely placed to take advantage of the situation this year. And it's just an added bonus for the National League teams.
You think it stays?
I do. I like the fact that you get more offense. I love the fact that your stars who can't run anymore and can't play defense anymore, will have a place in the major leagues, not just the American League. And so I think that stays.
I like watching pitchers hit.
Well, it's because you were never a pitcher.
I was never a hitter.
I thought you had a little hitting background in you.
Yeah, it took a while to get that out because it's a lie. Edwin, replace your divots. There's the pair at 5-0. And Edwin, if you just missed it, this was a demolition derby to left field, a solo home run. And Dallas Keuchel, Steve, has been quite good so far.
Well, they're going after the first pitch a lot, and then he's getting him down in the count, and then he wipes them out. A lot of ground balls. That's the case. And there's another.
I was going to say, did you say ground ball? I believe you did. One down.
You go after the first pitch with Dallas Keuchel and the control that he has. Most likely it's not going to be a real good day for you.
One out for Frazier, and there's a strike.
Is it too late to answer Luke Appling for Sox Files?
No, you can lob that in. Good job.
White Sox player.
It's true. You did name a Sox player this time. Congratulations. The answer is not Zeke Benora.
The man on every list offensively that the Sox have.
You're going to be amazed by this, but Zeke Benora this day in 1935 in game 1 of a doubleheader, the Sox won 9-8 in 15 innings on a walk-off steal of home by Zeke Benora.
He was deceptively fast.
He evidently is on every list that's ever been made, but this piece of research in 1937, when Bill Dietrich threw a White Sox no-hitter on June the 1st, Zeke Benora had the 2 best defensive plays in the game. There was a smash down the first base line by Bill Knickerbocker, and then he had a leaping grab of a liner from Sam West. As there is strike 3 and 2 down here in the 5th. But we promise you the answer is not Zeke. For Sox Files today, who do you think it is?
I said Luke Appling.
Yeah, but I thought you were just joking. It's Goose Gossage, your guy.
He and I were actually roommates on the road. Almost ended my career, but it was a delightful time.
Colorado native.
Goose could really pitch. Colorado Springs. Married the former Korna Lukashevitz. Goose was something. He was really intimidating.
Can we double back on how he nearly ended your career?
Oh, it was a terrible accident that it still pains me to this day to talk about.
Was that a hay baler? What happened?
It's very close to it, yeah. It was sad.
Quick follow-up, Mr. Stone, if I may.
Sure.
What happened?
What do you got? Oh, nothing. It was just, you know, young, inexperienced.
The hay baler? What was it? A road argument?
Well, I was starting one night, getting my first start of the year against Jim Palmer in Baltimore. And I had come out of the bullpen, so this was a start. It was pretty exciting. I think it was the beginning of June. Goose was my roommate, and safe to say, he didn't come in all that early, all that much. So when he stumbled in about 4 and wanted to carry on a conversation about the vagaries of life, I reminded him that I had a night game to start. It was truly after that evening that I went to our traveling secretary and said, if you don't want my career to end, I would like to room alone from this day forward. And that's when our roommate and partnership ended. Wonderful man,
yeah,
but he must have roomed with somebody else.
This to left center field, allowing the inning to continue in the conversation as well. It's a base hit for Osuna, so I'm guessing you didn't have any worse roommates on the road than Goose Gossage?
He was literally the last roommate I ever had.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was it.
You went cold turkey after that.
Roomed alone. It seemed to work out pretty well, actually.
Yeah, you won a very nice award.
Goose went on to the Hall of Fame, and I went on to actually have a career after that year.
I can only imagine you getting woken up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that was interesting. Come on, roomie, let's talk. I looked at the clock. It's 4 o'clock. Are you kidding me? I got to start tonight. Oh, geez, I forgot. And then he went on to continue talking. He was a loquacious fellow.
Yeah, seems like it. Swing and a miss by Riddle. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back to the mound. Dallas Keuchel fields it well and ends the inning. More about Steve's roommates, maybe, depending on how this one goes. Could be fun.
I have that.
You do?
That's what I'm watching on.
You're watching on the monitors you need eye black for.
A lot of glare.
Yes, from our tech team to you after the game. 1 strike on Tim Anderson, who is 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout. Watching Tim in the dugout this year, having fun, but also providing leadership to this White Sox team, has been one of the small joys of this 30-game season to this point. And we have seen the improvement of Tim just in those small motions at the plate that you've talked us through.
Well, look, he's not looked good in 2 at-bats, but very rarely looks bad in 3 at-bats. So he's probably thinking about picking something up. He would like it down if he had a choice, middle in if he could order it. And we'll see if he can get a good piece of this one, as Williams now in his 5th inning of work and trailing by a 5 spot.
Left-hand side, nobody's going to get it. Tim's safe at first base. Now we're going to check into the studio and see what's coming up. White Sox postgame live, presented by Subaru. Lone Chuck. Hi, Chuck. Yes, he does. Dallas so far has twirled a 3-hitter, all singles, 6 strikeouts, no walks, and a 5-0 Sox lead. Dallas Keuchel has provided the calmest seas of any Sox starter this year. I mean, you talk about consistency. Every outing's been a good outing.
The Sox got him for a number of different reasons. 1, his experience. 2, his winning history. And 3, his ability to eat up innings. go out there and keep you out of the bullpen on a daily basis, which allows it to be fresher on another day.
I mean, we're going to have to reintroduce Sox fans to the bullpen in the first place. After I had Foster and Detweiler the other day for an inning each, Marshall and Colomé after Gio Gonzalez post Lopez, and Jace Fry for 1 inning. There are guys who haven't thrown in about a week down there.
Actually, although that's not the ideal situation, you love to see the starters doing what they're doing. This was not going to be a team when this season started that was going to be known for their starters, especially when you had the injuries to 40% of your rotation with Rodon and Lopez. Kopech opted out. You were looking for guys. You knew there was going to be a bullpen day, and you wondered how the starters would be, and they are very good. Starters have been wonderful.
Well, the other reason you have Dallas Keuchel in terms of that playoff presence is when you come to games like 3 with the Twins late in the year or 3 with the Cubs, the final 3 of the regular season, you have somebody who knows how to pitch in that environment. Line drive right field. Polanco is there for out number 1. Test your luck during every White Sox game this season. It's the 50-50 raffle Sox split presented by Wintrust, on sale now until the end of the 7th inning. The current jackpot valued right around $1,500 today. Get your split the pot tickets right now at whitesox.com/Sox split. Valid for Illinois residents 18 and over. You want a good pitching matchup tonight? It is Minnesota and Cleveland. Jose Barrios against Mike Clevenger.
There were those who speculated perhaps they would be moving Clevenger, but that would put a fairly substantial hole in the rotation for the Cleveland Indians. So for the moment, he is back, and you add to what they have Plesac and Clevenger, and you realize why the Indians are going to be there all season long. I mean, that is a team that will not score a great deal of runs on a daily basis, but they're going to outpitch a lot of people.
Those series, Sox Indians and Sox Twins, are going to be completely different series for the remainder of the year. Sox Indians, you're looking for 3, maybe 4 runs. Sox Twins, 8 or 9 makes you feel good.
The Sox Twins going to be bombs away.
Oh, 2 for Grandal. Foul, first base side.
Hey, White Sox fans, Xfinity XFi gives you the Wi-Fi security with a warning track and a smarter, more secure home Wi-Fi network. If it's connected, it's protected. Got the off day tomorrow. You catch up on your homework.
I think I go home and do like social studies workbooks.
Well, when you do 12 games a week, you have a tendency to do a lot of research.
Into left center field. That's a base hit. Tim scrambles past second. He's going to get to third easily. Grandal on 2 strikes has himself a base hit.
Nice job of just reaching out, poking it through the infield. And runners at the corners with the Sox looking for more. And although Williams does keep the ball down, his ball doesn't sink that much. So when it's a fastball without the sink rotation, that turns into line drives. Tim reading the play right away, coasting into third base without a play.
Sox looking for a put-away inning here, up 5-0. Coming into today, the Sox batting average as a team with 2 strikes was 191, which doesn't sound very good, but is actually the 3rd best batting average with 2 strikes in all of Major League Baseball. Short pop-up over second base. Will anybody get there? The answer is yes. Frazier is there over the shoulder round number 2.
That's a very simple but a very difficult play for Frazier because he knows Tim's at third base. This is a tough play. He's looking up into the sun. He makes the over the shoulder catch and then has to hustle it back in the infield because you have one of the fastest of the Sox runners at third. That's just an outstanding effort. Might not mean quite that much in a 5-0 game, but Derek Shelton, the new manager of this team, appreciates that kind of defensive play.
It's not been a lot to appreciate this year. Although the Pirates came into this series playing their best baseball, they had won 3 in a row. At 7-18, Pittsburgh has the worst record in Major League Baseball. And that's strike 1 on Eloy Jimenez.
We've seen Derek Shelton in a lot of different places and mostly as a hitting coach, and he's a good one. But Pittsburgh brought him in to change the culture of their team. I'm sure when he sat down with the front office, they talked about what they envisioned the Pirate organization to be like going forward. They were such wonderful teams in years past. I mean, you've played the Pirates, you had yourself a problem. 1971, that was the Clemente and Stargell era. You go to 79, they won again. Unfortunately, they were able to literally beat my teams 2 years. I was with the Giants in 71. We ran into them in the playoffs, dominated the season. Pittsburgh beat us. 79, up 3-1 in the World Series. Pittsburgh again. They had great teams and great players, and they're trying to get back to those days.
Eloy drives it right field. Polanco at the wall. It's gone again. The offense keeps on cooking, and it's 7-0 Sox. Make it 8 on a 3-run home run for Eloy Jimenez. A 3-run shot to right, and it's 8-0 in the 5th.
We told you it would be lively. You get it up in the air, and it's going. Third home run, Ford home run replay, opposite field. Eloy's got big power that way. Polanco trying to time it. He just runs out of room. And the hit parade continues. Jose looks in the camera. Look at these forearms. Are you kidding me? No wonder it went out.
Sun's out, guns out. There's ball 1 on Encarnacion. So the Sox take an 8-0 lead on home run number 3 of the ball game. And here we go again with consecutive runs scored on home runs. It is now 6 in a row, all on homers for the Sox and Jimenez, as this is right around second base for Frazier to end the inning. But the Sox get 3 more on a big swing from Eloy Jimenez. Hi, Mom. Take a swing of this. There she is, 8-0. Shield of Illinois today for Dallas Keuchel. Couple of changeups for you. Slider down out of the zone. A few fastballs. The anatomy of the strikeouts for Dallas Keuchel. And there you see pitches by start his last 4, Steve.
Yeah, the last time out you can see 114 against the Cubs. So I'm thinking today you might not want to let him go too deeply into this game. Get the off day tomorrow. A huge workload for Dallas Keuchel. He takes the baseball, goes out until it's taken from him, but last time out was a hard-working day for him.
And a big day for the Sox as well. I mean, you show up at Wrigley Field, it's the opener of a 3-game series, and the Sox eventually win 2 of those 3. But it's the toughest series you've seen in a while in this season, and he sets the tone for it.
It was also a game where you scored a whole lot of runs. That was the one dominant game in the series. The other 2 were really good, solid ball games. The finale of the series was a great game. It didn't go the Sox way, but Hugh Darvish was at the top of his game, and it was Slider City.
Yeah, it took every slider to beat Dylan Cease that day, 2-1.
Was a really well played game. One of those where the Sox would have loved to have come away with the win, but they were happy with the series.
Cole Tucker is 2 for 2 in this game. He has 2 of the 3 hits for the Pirates, and we mentioned his glove collection in the context of him becoming an outfielder from his infield time. And one of the gloves that he has used on the field actually was given to Derek Shelton last year by his center fielder in Minnesota, Byron Buxton. So Buxton gives Shelton this glove as a gift to thank him for everything that he meant to him. And then Cole Tucker's in need of a glove for the outfield, and he's using Shelton's glove every once and again this year. There's ball 4. He peels away, and it's a leadoff walk for the Pirates. And if you're already planning a special occasion at the ballpark, we have you covered. Let's talk 2021 group tickets with a variety of spaces perfect for you and your group. Call or text Sox Ticks 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com today. We cannot wait to see you back at the ballpark. It has been a long summer and a long spring, and Tim Anderson is along for the ride for out number 1.
Well, Tim has some of the best range in baseball, and we've seen it already. Going to his right, leaping up in the air to take a base hit away. So that's a couple of them today.
Tim's had a very good defensive season so far, and the Sox overall have been a great defensive ball club. According to Mark Simon of Sports Info Solutions, in a note he sent this morning, the White Sox are number 1 in their metric of defensive runs saved for the 2020 season entering play today.
That's a radical departure from just a year ago. But one of the ways they've been able to do it is add that guy in center field who gets everything. It stays up in the air. Luis Robert makes the catch. How about those numbers? From 1 year ago, you'd have never said that was possible.
No, I mean, and you look at the defensive run save change for Tim so far, and yes, we're 30 games into the season. Tim was minus 12 in DRS last year. He was minus 22 in 2017. He's plus 1 so far this year, much closer to his 2018 season where he was plus 6. 3 balls, no strikes.
And you know he's got a lot of pride, and he works awfully hard to make himself better. And the one thing about Tim is when you tell him he can't do something, he starts out to show you why you're wrong.
Yeah, he's pretty confident you're wrong. As there's ball 4, 2 on, 1 out.
Rep the South Side anywhere, anytime with the My Teams app. Keep up with the latest storylines, listen to podcasts, and best of all, stream every White Sox game. Download the My Teams app today. And this is where you got to worry about Dallas Keuchel. I mean, it's a steamy hot day today. He's coming off a huge workload, and he's got a big lead in this one. So even though he's only at 76 pitches, you just keep a close eye on him.
What are you looking for?
If he gets the ball up, that's one of the signs that he is certainly struggling. And you know, you've got the Pirates so far down in this one. You want to keep him there, but it's Bell and Polanco, and they both can drive in some runs in a hurry.
He tipped it, so that is strike 2 on Josh Bell. Love the jerseys, by the way, for the Pirates. Black with the yellow trim, Pittsburgh in the cursive. So does Steve. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well,
on Bell. I know you have the We Are Family
I see
issues.
I see black and gold in my nightmares, and I hear We Are Family, and it makes me nauseous. So it's really hard to tell you that I'm really enamored with the jerseys.
Isn't that amazing, though, right? I mean, we're talking about 1979. It's about 40 years ago.
71 and 79.
Right. I'm saying
both
the most
times.
recent one.
I never hold a grudge, ever.
You embrace it. If you wouldn't just hold it.
I let it go. Turn the page. Me and Bob Seeger would turn the page and go on to fight another day.
As Bell takes the long and lonesome highway back to the dugout, 2 down.
Good straight change. Watch it again. Well out in front. So I'm thinking you get a good solid 6. That might be it. He's in the low 80s in pitches. But first things first, you got to get out of this inning. And last time up, Polanco hit a rocket. Tim Anderson went up as high as he could go with as good a timing as he had and made the play.
That is the rip that Pirates scouts saw, and they saw the ball get hit and fly like 450 feet. That's what you love about Polanco, but he made a miss here.
Good movement by Dallas Keuchel. That one just sunk down and in, and he's going to go there again.
Jackknifed out of the way, ball and a strike on Polanco. Dallas Keuchel's had this quality about him this year. When he gets the ball, you just think the Sox are going to win.
He's been that way pretty much his entire career. You know, interestingly enough, last year he sat out a long time waiting for an opportunity to play, and he finally got it. And very few pitchers could have spent that long looking for a job only to come in and then go 8-8. Everybody said, well, it wasn't a great year. Well, if you look at the totality of the situation, it was pretty strong with the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves have a really good young team.
Starting to get healthy again, Atlanta is, as it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Polanco. Seems like there's a new young outfielder. There's El Coffey, the Gregory Polanco nickname. I saw him in AAA with the Indianapolis Indians. He was one of those guys comes through AAA and you're like, man, he's just better than everybody. He's just better than everybody. Check swing. No, says CB Buckner, who, by the way, we should mention again, James McCann, right after the no-hitter last night, immediately pointed back to CB Buckner, just in deference to an umpire for doing yeoman's work behind the plate.
You just don't see that very much. It gives you a window into the character of James McCann. It was literally the first thing that he did when that game ended was turn around and point to CB to acknowledge the fact that he had a whale of a baseball game. And I think maybe you can count on one hand, maybe just a couple of fingers, how many times a catcher will do that, especially after catching a no-hitter. The first thing you do is acknowledge the umpire. That's special.
It's inside and it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the Pirates here in the 6th. Let's go back to the final out and watch James McCann as Don Cooper is going to come out to the mound. It's a beautiful thing, really. I mean, the understanding of your surroundings, like you want to go out and share this with your friend and he says, hey, you, good stuff. Not hey, you gave it to us. None of that. That's not what he means by that. It's simply an acknowledgement of everybody who's involved in this game.
Stayed consistent. That's what you want. And you asked me earlier this inning how you can tell when a pitcher's getting tired. You take a guy who hasn't walked anybody today and suddenly walks 3 guys in an inning. That's how you can tell that he is fatigued. So they have supreme confidence that Dallas can get out of here because nobody is up in the bullpen, and it's pitch number 89 on the way. 3 walks for a pitcher that doesn't walk too many people.
Stallings a batter. First pitch, a strike. That's a good sign if you're looking for good signs. And why wouldn't you be?
He's handled Stallings twice, kept him in the infield, strikeout and a ground out.
I feel like I've seen that face before. Downstairs, a ball and a strike on Stallings.
You're talking about the one that looks like James Shields?
I thought they look alike, yes. You don't think so? I think so.
Almost identical, like looking in the mirror.
I don't know that you know how mirrors work. So we learned about piñatas together earlier this week.
We did.
And now mirrors.
Be nice to get out of this inning and retain the 8.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with the Pirates getting closer. Give the bullpen some leeway and get some guys some work. Fouled away back to the screen. Pirates got a hit on the first pitch of the ball game. First pitch, first swing, Cole Tucker, a knock to center. And that kept us from any drama in this ball game for no-hitter purposes. And Ricky Renteria's reaction after that game, saying that he just felt like he wanted to cry. He was so happy for Lucas, was a very touching moment in all of this. And Ricky, I'll tell you what, whatever anybody ever wants to say about Ricky Renteria, good, bad, indifferent, he invests in his players more than just about any leader you're going to find. Ricky Renteria gives a lot and asks a lot emotionally from his guys, and that is the sign of somebody who people want to follow. And his response to that no-hitter was classy and very Ricky-like. This is going to go to left center field and bring 2 home for the Pirates. So Jacob Stallings makes it an 8-2 ball game in the 6th.
Bullpen now up and going. And it's a 6-run lead. Stallings with his first hit of the ball game. RBIs 8 and 9. And the inning rolls along.
First pitch, strike 1 to Adam Frazier. There's Jimmy Cordero. Again, we're going to need to do bullpen roll call. It's been a while for some of these guys. That's a foul ball.
Hit off his foot. It stayed fair, and Jose thought the inning was over, but I think it bounced off his foot. Or if it didn't, he did a nice job of acting.
Well, it was around his foot.
It was in the neighborhood. It was a neighborhood foul ball.
Reinstating the neighborhood play?
Yeah.
Oh, 2. Second base, Danny Mendick. Throws him out and the inning's over. Bottom 6, we are scheduled to hear from the man of last night, Lucas Giolito, to call into the telecast and tell us what he was thinking late in that game and how much sleep he got. I'm over the major league average, beating that out, and then the 111 miles an hour off the bat for his 3rd hit of 3 off a double over the center fielder's head. And no chance that time for Gerard Dyson. So the Sox got the win. Lucas Giolito had a no-hitter, and Luis Robert continues to be pretty productive in this rookie season.
Quite obviously, going to first base, he was above league average. But if you watch that again, you'll realize that he actually spun his wheels in the batter's box. He's actually faster than those numbers look like.
He sinks with that pitch and takes a strike. When I was in AAA and Steven Strasburg came through, one of the things he said was that all the media attention he was getting as the next young thing in Major League Baseball, the next young player, and people were coming in from across the country to watch him pitch, he said that the greatest part of it was that his teammates were getting the attention as well. And with a situation like last night where Lucas Giolito throws a no-hitter, the Sox get more attention too, and Luis Robert rightfully so. Polanco gliding to make the play, That's the sheer athleticism of Gregory Polanco, and all Robert can do is smile.
He didn't hit it very well, and it almost went out of the ballpark. We'll watch it again. This is a fastball up. Luis goes the other way, and Polanco is up at the top of his leap. Good timing, makes the play.
Yeah, all I'm saying is when you have a moment like that, it draws attention to your teammates, and now thanks in part to the winning streak and the home run game from a couple Sundays ago, but also the no-hitter, the Sox are getting more attention widely across this country, and rightfully so, with the bonanza of young talent on this roster. To first base, Osuna ranging over for a quick out, number 2.
I believe that's going to be it for Dallas Keuchel. He'll depart this game, giving up the 2 runs on just 4 hits, but 3 walks in the 6th inning, and Pittsburgh still 6 down in this one.
What's the difference coming out of a game giving up 2 runs and giving up no runs?
Well, I think the one thing that would really aggravate Dallas is not necessarily the 2 runs. It was the 3 walks that it took to get to the 2 runs. You're going to give up hits. That's just the way it goes. But he's not the kind of pitcher that can walk 3 guys in an inning if he's not experiencing some sort of fatigue.
Danny takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Danny Mendick, whose 2-run home run gave the Sox their 3rd and 4th runs of this ball game.
It could translate into the IDOT safe play of the game. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it might. We're not sure yet.
All precincts are not in yet.
Two balls and a strike. Foul ball.
Time now for the Illinois Department of Transportation safe drive of the game, and who could have seen that coming? Danny Mendick goes the other way. That's his 3rd home run of the year. It made it a 4-0 game. He's driven in 6. That was a little breathing room early in this one.
Danny to right field, and he's got another hit. He's 2 for 3 in the ball game. Good year for Danny Mendick. Good for him.
It really is, because he's gotten a great opportunity, made some very strong defensive plays, and will occasionally surprise you with good solid contact. Stays right with it, takes it to right field, and keeps the inning alive.
Talk about having to wear it, by the way. Trevor Williams gets the Wear It Award for the Pirates today.
Yeah, this is pretty much stay out there. Try to limit the damage. Don't worry, we'll come get you sometime. Not anytime soon, but sometime.
We love you. We'll show our appreciation later.
You get the participation trophy.
Oh, don't say that. You're going to have tweets.
I've never known any negative tweets on Twitter.
Again, coming out of post position 5 with the blinders on. 1-0. Brush to shortstop. Gonzalez to Frazier to retire the side. Nobody promos a promo like Stephen Michael Stone. 8-2 Sox.
This is the day of Dallas Keuchel. He was staked to a big lead early. He got 4 runs seemingly before things settled down, and then he just kept pumping the strikes out. Dallas had another very solid day. He's going to go 6 innings. He did walk 3 in the 6th, gave up a couple of runs, and gave way to Jimmy Cordero on for the 13th time. ERA of 4.35. 9 strikeouts and 10 1/3. That's pretty good. So a big lead. You want to throw strikes and try to help Pittsburgh catch that early plane.
Make it a little earlier, in fact. There's Jimmy's charge here as there's a foul ball for strike 1. So again, Dallas Keuchel after Giolito in the rotation, has provided a very sturdy, guaranteed strong outing halfway through this year for the Chicago White Sox.
Well, when you look at it, Dylan Cease has been very good. I mean, exceptionally good most of the time. But when you look at the top two, you look at Giolito, Keuchel, you realize, along with Dylan Cease, and nice play by Cordero, who takes it himself.
Jimmy's going to run down the tunnel. Jimmy was going to leave the ballpark there.
Well, he's trying to lead the league in putouts, and so no reason to evolve Abreu. But
watch him real quick. Watch Jimmy here.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're going there, why not? Momentum going forward. Jose's off the bag. It's a tough play, so he takes it himself, and you know, a big put out, and maybe a pit out, but certainly a put out.
Well, that's for when you're eating olives.
Yes. But you can understand why the Sox are so excited about the potential of getting into the playoffs, because your 1 and 2, you feel, can beat anybody else's 1 and 2. And in a short series, if you can put them away with your top 2 pitchers, you got a big leg up, not only on 2 of 3 or 3 of 5, even on 4 of 7, because they're going to roll back over again, and they're going to get at least one more start.
Playoffs are going to be super interesting this year. There's no real blueprint for how to handle it. If you go and have to play 3 in the first round, how do you stack your starters? There's so much involved in it, and certainly you want to be one of the top 2 teams in your division, because there's a tax on the 7 or 8 seeds because they have to face the 2 best division winners in your league.
A lot of work to be done until then, and it doesn't really help the cause when you've got 3 pretty good teams in your league, and that's what the Sox are facing. I mean, everybody looked at the AL Central and they thought, okay, you know, it's going to be okay. It hasn't turned out that way. It's turned out to be the top 3 are about as good as anybody else's top 3 and better than most.
Left field, Eloy drifting back, and he's there to make the catch. It's pretty much the only way he's going to get to a ball that Robert doesn't take away from him, is that he's got to be going to the line. Here's your playoff picture right now. The Sox are in second place, tied with the Indians, but the Sox are in the 2 position in the AL Central. Cleveland, the 7 seed, the Blue Jays, the 8 seed. So that would put the Sox against the Yankees, the top 2 second place teams in the divisions in the American League.
But what nobody can tell at this point, with a half a season to go, is which team will suffer meaningful injuries, because we've seen a lot of pitchers go down. We've seen a lot of very meaningful injuries. You take a really good team that can look unbeatable at times and subtract a couple of the top players in that team, and they don't look near as unbeatable.
No, the Yankees look like they were going to absolutely run away with the AL East, and they've had injury after injury, and so Tampa Bay a game up as we enter play today in that East, and a very good team. Tyler Glasnow and his curveballs were outrageously deceptive yesterday.
You know, if you really love baseball and you understand the economics of the game, you'll realize just how astonishing the Tampa Bay Rays have been. Year after year, that small budget team has put together some wonderful deals. They've brought up some great players from their minor leagues. The front office has been remarkable, and it doesn't matter who's there because they've had a few different people. But that team has been just great, and it gives hope to all the teams that don't spend the money of the Yankees or the Dodgers, that you can get it done. Tampa Bay has proven you can get it done. One year they turned over their entire bullpen in a season.
Yeah, it's a brilliant thing they're doing. And the Sox, by the way, up 8-2, have 6 outs to get.
Out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the White Sox. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old game.
Well done.
I mean, that was
Stretch
better than-
time on the fan cam. It's fantastic. As Tyler Bachelor is out of the bullpen for the Pirates.
This year, it has not been as successful as he would have liked.
I know people are clamoring for new episodes of The Bachelor. And there is strike number 1 to Yoan Moncada here in the 7th.
Oh, you know, it's too early for that.
When's the cutoff? Will you just hand me a rose when it's time?
I will indeed.
0-1. That's fouled away. Sinker slider for Bachelor. 46% sinker, 37% slider. He'll mix in a changeup every once and again. As the Sox have an 8-2 lead over the Pirates. And the Sox will be in Pittsburgh for a brief return trip, a 2-game series in a couple of weeks with those 2 wraparound off days once again. Tagged to right field by Moncada. Well hit into the alleyway. It goes, and off the wall, Yoan chugs into second with his second double.
I'm not sure if it was a couple of days off, but he came out today looking much better than he has looked mostly in day games, but also recently because of the leg issues. He just looks like that base is now solid. Maybe the legs aren't as bad as they have been, and he's hit the ball much better. I mean, even when they got him out in the 5th inning, he hit a line drive right at Polanco, but a couple of doubles today, a very hard hit ball to third base in the 1st inning. So 4 at bats and 4 balls hit right on the screws.
He's at second. Yasmani Grandal takes a strike. Sox will be off again tomorrow. This is another quick series with the Pirates. When we were there 2 years ago, it was night game, day game, and farewell to Pittsburgh. Sox and Royals with 3 games at Guaranteed Rate Field this weekend. A home series, 7:10 on Friday, Jackie Robinson Day, and then 1:10 games Saturday and Sunday with Kansas City.
I think you'll agree with me for the first time in a long time, but we're going to miss their crew. Always nice to catch up with Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler, Denny Matthews, Steve Physiak. I mean, it's just a really good crew, very nice guys.
Yes.
Get to talk baseball all the time. And of course, this year nobody is traveling, so
we won't see him, but we will get to talk baseball with the guy who threw a no-hitter last night. Lucas Giolito is on the phone. Lucas, how much sleep did you get last night?
Hey Jason, hey Steve. I didn't get too much sleep, but when I did go to sleep, I slept very well.
Where's your mind today after all that happened yesterday?
I'm just trying to let everything kind of settle in, kind of let it soak in. Last night it was kind of hard to fathom, you know, what we did on that field, and so now I'm just kind of taking the time to allow it to kind of sink in and become a real thing.
Lucas, when you talk to your family after the ball game, what was it like? I mean, the excitement that they experienced must have been something.
Yeah, I know. Like my dad can't watch me pitch, so like he must have been real nervous. He told me that, you know, he poured himself a glass of whiskey or bourbon or whatever and was like walking around, and then, you know, tried to guess in his head on his walk, all right, how long can this inning last?
We got another home run, baby. How about this? 2-run shot for Jose Abreu, and the Sox add on. Lucas, your offense stops you in your tracks sometimes. How about that?
I'm not mad about that. I am, you know, being on the pitching side, I am very, very happy seeing what our offense is doing pretty much on a daily basis nowadays.
Jose Abreu, a 2-run shot. We're talking to Lucas Giolito. I've been thinking about this all day and trying to pick out what it was. You said in the postgame you shook off James once yesterday. What pitch was it?
We went to a righty. We went slider, 0-2 count, and then he wanted a third slider. I shook off to a fastball, ended up throwing that above the zone, and then I think we went back to like another fastball after that for the strikeout.
That was another base hit.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was the one, huh?
That was the one. I just felt like ripping a heater really hard. That was pretty much my thought process behind that. The rest of the thinking and game management I leave up to James.
Lucas, you're going to talk a lot about that no-hitter, and you're going to be interviewed about that many times. I want to know one thing about you and this ball club in spring training. And I'm talking about the first spring training, not the second. You come off a tough year last year, not you personally, but the ball club, and yet it looked to me like there was a different feeling. Tell us what it was like when you got to spring training and you met a lot of different people from a lot of different places.
Yeah, I mean, it started even before spring training. When the front office was doing their work, signing guys, the excitement was building. We knew that, like, the core group that we already had, that we were going to take that next step. We were convinced. There wasn't anything anyone could say to try and convince us otherwise. And so once we, we're looking around the offseason seeing, oh, we added Dallas Keuchel, oh, we added Edwin Encarnacion, oh, we added Yasmani Grandal, etc. The excitement started to build. And then once we got to spring training, the whole team came together, the veteran guys, the new faces, they fit in immediately, perfectly. And we just had that really good camaraderie in the clubhouse from the get-go, and it just kind of allowed for the confidence to build. And unfortunately, that spring training was cut short, but we kind of picked up right where we left off in summer camp.
How many friends like James McCann do you have in your life?
Not many. It's a special relationship we have. It's really... that's one thing that I was thinking about last night, kind of as the night went on and on, how James and I in 18 both struggled, kind of went in that off season with a new sense of urgency, kind of reinventing ourselves on the baseball field, and then we come together in 19, and now we're continuing to grow that even more. So it's awesome.
When did you know that you guys were in sync like you are? How quickly did that happen as we see you hug him right there?
Oh, man. Are you talking about...
Last year.
Last year? It started in spring training. I immediately liked his targets, the way he would set up behind home plate. And then, the more games we had, it just built up more and more. His pitch calling, his ability to read me, his ability to read the hitters and how they're reacting to my pitches. And so it's just kind of built more and more over time.
Lucas, talk a little bit about your pregame prep in the year when you really struggled as opposed to the pregame prep when you changed everything around going into last season.
Night and day difference.
We got a double play here. Are you willing to stick around for the top of the 8th inning, or do you have somewhere to be?
No, I'm chilling.
Okay, we'll talk no hitter with Lucas Giolito. We can do this for days. We're gonna watch some highlights of you though. Angie made that catch. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the Gatorade bat. Some social media reaction to last night's no-hitter. You see James McCann, no words to describe tonight. Childhood dream coming true for the White Sox catcher, as we are joined by Lucas Giolito on the phone. This is from Getty Images, and a 6'7" frame rising above everybody else, as Lucas Giolito is with us here on the telecast. And as we went away, you were talking about your preparation from 2018 compared to 2019. What was different?
2018, it was almost like I thought I was preparing for big league starts, but it wasn't even close. I do my scouting reports, but I wasn't from day 1 through day 4, I didn't have the focus. I didn't have like the discipline to really put my all into what I was doing to prepare for my next start. I also didn't have a clear-cut routine for knowing what works for me. Whereas, I transitioned to 19, days 1 through 4, I know exactly what I need to do on that day to prepare myself for that day 5. And, I've kind of put my full trust into my preparation so that when it does come game time, there's nothing to worry about. I'm not searching for anything. I just go out there and let myself do what I know how to do.
You're one of the more thoughtful pitchers. And so everybody has the great physical talent. They wouldn't be here. For you or for most pitchers, what percentage is mental? What percentage is physical?
I'd say, like kind of like Yogi Berra, it's like what, 90% mental, 90 whatever percent mental. That big time. Obviously I made a bunch of physical changes just to be more on time, but the stuff that I worked on to fix what was going on between the ears, what I touched on earlier with my preparation, being able to learn how to focus better, I think that's made the bulk of the difference.
So on that subject, we had a shot of you in the bottom of the 8th inning. You were looking out at the field and you sort of nodded confidently as you were watching everything going on. Where was your mind and what were you trying to center your mind on in that moment before you took the field?
Just continuing to remind myself that pretty much the game plan up to this point has worked. If we're going to close this thing out, then I just need to, trust McCann back there, his calls, and take it one pitch at a time. That's a huge thing for me is, I write on the mound BP, not for batting practice, but for breathe and purpose. So remind myself to breathe and have purpose behind this next pitch. And when that pitch is over, it's over. Now on to the next one. Back to that breathe and purpose. So that's what I was pretty much trying to remind myself of going to the 9th.
I know that you talk with Dylan Cease, and he's in a different stage than you are. What have you talked to him about, and how is he trying to implement that?
I'd say a big thing is finding that right balance between what you're thinking about as far as physically, like sensations you want to feel when you're releasing the ball, release points, all that kind of stuff. And then also kind of shifting into when you're in game mode, those are things that you can't be thinking about when you're trying to navigate your way through an inning. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier with put that preparation in beforehand in your catch play, in the weight room, in your bullpen session, so that when it does come game time, you just kind of trust yourself to execute.
What did your body feel like as you went out to the mound for the 9th inning?
9th inning was definitely a little more heightened. I wouldn't say like nerves or anything like that, but kind of a sense of like floating, I guess, like, the extremities a little lighter. I guess like a lot of adrenaline.
The text that you didn't expect to get that you got last night was from who?
I don't know. I still haven't gone through them all yet. I got to get on that.
What did the little numbers say on the text message graphic? How many?
200 something.
Dude.
Yeah, it was awesome to see so many people reaching out, and it shows the support I've had throughout my whole career. A lot of people watching, rooting for me. It makes me feel pretty good.
Who has been that backbone? We've talked about your family, but who else was that important for last night?
Oh man, my first comes to my mind. My wife Ariana. We had a rough couple of days. The last couple days, our dog Louie had to go to the ER. We were slightly worried that he might get a cancer diagnosis, which luckily was not the case. He's back home now and recovering. So it was nice to be able to do that and then be able to talk to her last night and see Louie on FaceTime and everything. So yeah, I'd have to go with my wife, Ari.
Well, it's good to hear that everything's seemingly okay with Louie, and I was glad to see last night that your focus was so locked in, because I thought you were just ignoring me when we were doing play-by-play of the MLB The Show tournament, but instead you just get really locked in, and that's nice to see.
Yeah, I'm not the best multitasker. You know this.
Yeah, but I mean, it's amazing to watch on the mound, because we see it in so many different areas that you get so locked in, and to watch it in a big moment like that, just as you reflect on your own improvement, what does last night mean for Lucas Giolito 2020?
I mean, for me, it's another step forward. You know, that throwing a no-hitter was something that, although it's very rare and a lot of things have to go right, you have to be lucky, which I was. It was something that I had on my checklist that I wanted to accomplish in my big league career. So the fact that I was able to do that means a lot to me. You know, it still hasn't truly, fully sunken in yet, and I'm trying to enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's another step forward as I continue to try and be the best pitcher I can.
All right, off the bat, the ball to right field. What did you think?
It was scary. It was a clincher. I was, you know, it was supposed to be like to the backstop. That wasn't supposed to be anywhere near the zone, and I ended up pulling it down. I mean, right off the bat, I could see it was very hard contact to the right side. I was just worried that it would be down the line. But luckily, Engie was placed perfectly and got an amazing jump, and that's what he does. He's one of the best outfielders in the game.
How good is Adam Engel as a defensive outfielder?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And he's getting so much better with the bat, too. He's such a huge part of this team.
This defense overall, how much better this year do you feel on the mound about your defense than last year?
I feel great. I mean, yesterday was, you know, they put a clinic on. You know, the Yo-Yo snagging the liner. TA had a few nice plays. Not obviously the one that everyone saw with the grounder up the middle. Pizzo with the pick. Man, Brayu's first base this year has been unbelievable. It's a pleasure to have those guys behind me when I take the hill.
Lucas, what's on the checklist next?
Make the playoffs and then get ourselves to the World Series. I think that's pretty much all we're thinking about.
All right, so you just throw a no-hitter. I'm going to try and help you out a little bit. Who is the one celebrity that you'd like to hear from, that we can put it out there, that the guy who just threw a no-hitter would like to talk to?
Man, I don't get too wrapped up in all that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, you ran out of time.
I ran out of time.
Lucas, an absolute jewel. We are so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Lucas Giolito. A thank you to Adam Engel as we say farewell to the top of the eighth. Blanco back at the wall. It's out of here. It pinballed around, and Danny Mendick does get it over the outstretched glove. How fun is this team right now? Care to answer? I didn't want to answer my own question. How fun is this team right now?
Well, I have to tell you that this is a long time in the making. We saw the start of the deconstruction before the reconstruction, and the dues you pay watching a baseball team that is rebuilding. It's very difficult for everybody involved. For the fans, certainly, because they get impatient. For the players, for the coaching staff, for the front office, but they understood what was going to happen And this is the 4th year of a 5-year. The reason why the team is as fun as it is because we're seeing it starting to come together. It's like watching a puzzle in slow motion replay where it starts to come together until it's finally finished. At this point, this isn't the finished puzzle quite yet, but we're seeing how it comes together, and there are some days that are thrilling and some days still that are frustrating. I mean, that's part of the whole process. But when you start on it, you have to buy the whole process. And that's what the Sox are doing.
Well, it's a perfect analogy because everybody's had that moment when they're doing a jigsaw puzzle which has a landscape that has all these different colors, and you look at this one piece and you keep looking at it and you keep looking at it and you say, where does this go? That piece locks in, 6 other pieces follow, and you feel like the last couple of weeks, that run of pieces, that wave that comes over you, has started to complete the picture in a way that we just have not seen recently.
Well, if you were with us, you had a chance to listen to Lucas Giolito. And the day after you have a successful game, and for Lucas, I mean, that's as successful a game as you can possibly have. But the next day is such a wonderful day because this is one of the few jobs where when you complete the task, you have expended yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. So you're, as a human being, completely spent in every aspect of your being. And the next day, you're sore, you're off that roller coaster that is an emotional baseball game, the highs and the lows, the good points, the bad points. And this is a wonderful day. But this day for Lucas is the best day he'll have in a long, long time. You'd like to think he could do it again, but pretty hard to do that.
Certainly is. Also hard to get to a Subaru update when you're telling a great story. Oh boy, that ball is way out of here. Eloy drives it right field. Polanco at the wall, it's gone again. The offense keeps on cooking.
Time now for the Grandview Homes home run of the game. Grandview buys homes as is, and Danny Mendick with the score 2-0 takes it opposite way. It's now 4-0 because of Danny's 3rd home run of the year. Our Lakeside Bank call to the pen is Steve Cishek, on for the 13th time. His ERA a bit over 7. 3 outs to get, 7 runs to protect.
Mini sweep on the line after the no-hitter last night. Sox are hoping to draw within 1 game currently of Minnesota. That would happen with a victory, and the Minnesota-Cleveland game pending later on. Stallings got the scoring started for Pittsburgh with his 2-run hit in the 6th. It's a ball and a strike. So look, the Sox will play the Royals for 3 here at home Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then head off to Minnesota for the biggest series of the season.
It's going to be a dandy, and when you're playing the way the Sox are playing, you don't want the days off. I mean, that's certainly, you're grateful for days off, but when you're playing well, you want to get right back out there and continue the momentum. And the Sox are looking forward more than anything else to this weekend to play against the Royals right here in their home ballpark.
Fed in for a strike, 2-2 from Cishek. This was the game the Sox needed after the historic night last night, though.
I felt if they jumped on the Pirates early, they could pretty much put this one in the win column, and that's what they did. They picked up 4 early and kept adding to it. Dallas Keuchel was very good once again, as seemingly we say that every time he goes out there. And the offense is an offense we could get used to and have gotten used to a good portion of this year. They hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they do it consistently.
Right side base hit. Join us Monday, August 31st, 3 p.m. Game Changers, Latinos Reshaping the Sports Journalism Industry, a free virtual panel presented by St. Xavier University and Modelo Especial. Latino sports journalists will speak to current trends across sports media and industry growth opportunities. RSVP at whitesox.com/Game Changers. First pitch is ball one on Frazier.
With the off day tomorrow, a couple of guys getting some work in the bullpen.
Time to put this one to bed, get 3 outs, and call it a day.
Enjoy just about 48 hours off.
Night game on Friday into a day game on Saturday, and then a day game on Sunday as well.
Okay, so get your rest.
It's going to be easier to do tonight, I think, for everybody.
There's no doubt about that.
Good for Lucas, by the way, for sleeping soundly after he finally went to sleep.
I think it'd be a pretty tough thing to do. I know it was tough for us, and we didn't pitch the game, but you got so much adrenaline flowing. You were so much on edge for so long as the no-hitter was unfolding, where every pitch created much more drama, much more stress than the last pitch, because it was suddenly starting to turn into a reality. Something that's a pipe dream starts to turn into a reality. And imagine for Lucas coming out of that game with every bit of adrenaline he had pouring into his system, and then trying to just shut it all down and say, it's time to go to bed now. Doesn't quite work that way.
By the way, he and his wife Ari have done such great work. Ari is an aspiring vet. She does wonderful work with all of their pets. As there's strike 3 and 1 gone. Very philanthropic.
Let's take a look at our upcoming schedule presented by Volkswagen. Jason told you that it's Kansas City for a 3-game series, on to Minneapolis to face those mighty Twins, and then Kansas City will entertain us in a 4-game series. So a lot of the Royals coming up, and sandwiched in between, the Twins.
Well, look, after today, there will be 29 games remaining. So you're looking at the 1 month left. Obviously, 60 games is a different story, but in terms of the urgency of September baseball, it's the same as a regular year now. I mean, these are going to be close, tight races all the way throughout, and that final week of this season is going to just be insane.
Well, you get to the point where, and you talked about the sense of urgency, you get to the point where maybe when we first came back and started this up, you had a sense of urgency, but you had a little more patience with some people who weren't getting it done. But you're getting to the point now where you can't afford patience. You got to have some people who get it done or get some other people.
Well, the trade deadline's coming up the last day of August here, so it'll be interesting to see how certain teams deal with this. I mean, the Pirates are one of the very few teams who look like they are currently out of the race, even though they're only 6 games out of second.
Who do you think wins the Lance Lynn Derby? If there is a Lance Lynn Derby.
It's becoming a derby. A lot of people are talking about that name.
Well, he's been wonderful. You look at all the numbers, and he throws strikes. He comes right at you. He goes deep in every game. And he's a guy that everybody would love to have. And I think the question that every GM is asking themselves is the same thing. How much are you willing to mortgage of your future to get something that's so uncertain this year? I don't see a whole lot of really talented young guys going places.
No, why would you? I mean, it's for a rental or whatever it might be. You're only going to do something that would guaranteed help you next year in some way, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, in a normal season, you're talking about making a trade maybe the middle of July. You got a guy for 2.5 months. Now you're talking about making a trade. You got a guy for a month, and then he's out the door.
Adam Engel in left makes the catch. A little bit less tension on this grab today for Adam.
Just a touch.
Man, Lucas's reaction to that ball off the bat when we were just talking to him. And by the way, you're not going to run into many more thoughtful people, not only in the game of baseball, but in the game of life as Lucas Giolito. And you see it, as you said, in the reactions of his teammates to that no-hitter last night. It was as though it was all of theirs together, and he makes sure that everybody feels that way and their contributions are heard and welcomed and embraced.
A lot of people don't believe that in the hundreds of thousands of pitches that you'll make in your life, there are certain pitches that stand out. He's going to see that fastball that he missed with as the final pitch of the game. He knows where he should have thrown it. It was one of the few mistakes he made. He will see that pitch for the rest of his life. He will remember the feeling of letting the ball go only to wonder, uh-oh, I made a mistake, who's going to catch it? And it was answered with a line drive rocket to Adam Engel.
Right-hand side, Danny Mendick homered today and finishes the deal. A mini sweep of the Pirates with history attached. The Sox win this one in a big way, 10-3, and go to 19-12, and just a game back of first place Minnesota. The Sox have outscored opponents 32-4.